At the end of my last video, I said this one would surprise me. It did, just not in the direction I expected. I use Perplexity for research every single week. It's stage one of my entire workflow. So going into this comparison, I assumed I'd end up telling you to drop Google and switch. That's not what happened. What happened is I found out exactly where each one earns its place, and where I'd been using the wrong tool for the job without noticing. Here's the real question, not which one is smarter. Which one do you trust with a claim you're about to put in front of an audience? Let's start with how they actually work, because the mechanism explains almost everything else. Google's AI mode runs on Gemini 2.5. You type a question, it reads across the web, and it gives you a synthesized answer with citations, usually pulling from around 5 sources. It's built on top of the deepest search index that exists. Anything indexed, mapped, or reviewed on the internet, Google has probably already crawled it. Perplexity works differently. Pro accounts pull from 20 or more sources per query, and every claim in the answer links back to where it came from, in line as you read. It's not summarizing the web, it's assembling an answer in front of you and showing its work at every step. That difference, 5 sources versus 20, summary versus visible assembly, is the entire story. Everything else is a consequence of it. Test 1. Deep research. I gave both tools the exact prompt I use for every video brief. What are the real frustrations creators have with AI writing tools in 2026? What questions are people actually asking online? And what's underexplored right now? Google's AI mode gave me a clean, confident paragraph. Readable, well-organized, 5 source links at the bottom. Perplexity gave me a longer, structured breakdown with sourced citations woven directly into the text, Reddit threads, product review sites, forum posts, so I could click into any single claim and verify it before I repeated it on camera. For this specific job, Perplexity wins clearly. Not because it's smarter, because when I'm about to say something to thousands of people, I need to see the receipts as I read, not scroll to the bottom and hope. But here's the honest part, and I want to slow down for this because it matters more than any feature comparison. The Columbia Journalism Review ran an independent audit of AI search tools in 2026. They found a 37% error rate in standard Perplexity responses, wrong citations, misattributed quotes, sources that didn't actually say what the tool claimed. That number is not a rounding error. That's more than 1 in 3 answers containing something you'd need to correct. Other evaluations paint a rosier picture. One 2026 review put Perplexity's deep research mode at 92.3% citation accuracy specifically, which is a very different number from 37%. The gap between those two studies alone tells you something. Don't trust either tool's confidence. Trust your own verification pass. Every source Perplexity shows you is a link, not a fact. Click it. That's the entire value of the citations. They're only useful if you actually use them. Google's AI overviews carry their own hallucination problems too, with error rates reported up to 15% on certain query types. Neither tool is a source. Both are a starting point that still requires you to check the work. Pricing on the Perplexity side. Free tier exists, but rate limits you fast. Pro is $20 a month and removes most of that ceiling. That's the tier worth paying for the moment you're publishing research regularly. Max at $200 a month is built for people running it as a business tool with heavy daily volume. For a solo creator doing research 3 or 4 times a week, Pro is the right tier. Don't buy Max on day one. Here's a concrete example of that verification actually mattering. For this video, I asked Perplexity for Comet's release date. It told me October 2025 with a link to a Tech Press article. I clicked it. The article confirmed the date. Small thing, took 8 seconds, and it's the difference between stating a fact and repeating a guess. If I hadn't clicked, I'd have had the same confidence either way. The only difference is whether I'd earned it. Verdict on research. If the output needs to survive fact-checking, Perplexity's sourcing model gives you a faster path to verification, but faster path to verification is not the same as automatically correct. You still do the work. Test 2, the kind of question you ask without thinking twice. What time does this pharmacy close? Best rated coffee shop near this address. Is this product actually worth the price? I expected this to be a clean win for Google. It's closer than I thought. Both tools now show up with a genuine place card, map thumbnail, star ratings, review counts, addresses, a short note on what each pick is good for. Perplexity's got its own dedicated places tab now, sitting right next to answer, links, and images. I ran a real local query and it came back with a full comparison table, actual shop names, real review counts in the hundreds, exact addresses. That's a noticeably better experience than the source-heavy text answers I associated Perplexity with going in. Where Google still pulls ahead is depth and ownership, not whether the feature exists at all. Google's AI mode sits directly on top of Maps, Google Reviews, and its own shopping index. First-party data, live, the same information powering Google Maps and business profiles. That usually means things like current open or closed status and a direct call button. Perplexity's local results are assembled from indexed listings and reviews it doesn't own, so those live details are hit or miss. And Google's version is free. Every one of those quick lookups costs nothing, no account required, built into a search bar you already have open 40 times a day. Perplexity's local search is genuinely competitive now, but you're one free tier rate limit away from needing Pro to keep using it, and Google never asks. So test 2 still goes to Google just by a smaller margin than I expected walking in. Perplexity's local search improved enough to be a real option, not a novelty. Different strengths, different jobs, just less of a gap on this one than I would have guessed. Now the part that actually surprised me, Comet. Comet is Perplexity's own browser, not a plugin, a full browser, free to download since October 2025. It's built around something Google doesn't have an equivalent for yet, an assistant that can act inside the browser, not just answer questions about it. It reads open tabs, summarizes pages automatically, and on paid tiers there's a background assistant that can handle multi-step tasks, working through an inbox, running a booking flow, while you keep doing something else. I tested it on a real task. Go through my last 20 saved articles and pull out anything relevant to AI search tools. It worked. It read across open tabs and gave me a summary with links back to the specific paragraphs. That's not search. That's an agent doing a job. Here's my honest downside, and it's a real one, not a formality. Agentic browsers that can act on your behalf, click things, fill in forms, move through your email, are a genuinely new attack surface. A malicious page can attempt to feed instructions to the assistant the same way it would try to trick a person, except the assistant might actually act on them. Comet is new enough that I'd treat it as promising, not proven. I use it for reading and summarizing. I do not yet let it touch anything with my accounts or payment information attached, and I wouldn't recommend you do either until it's had more time in the wild. Comet Plus is included free with Pro and Max, so if you're already paying for Perplexity, there's no reason not to try the reading and summarizing side of it. Just be deliberate about what you let it act on. I want to be specific about why that caution exists, because be careful with AI agents is vague enough to ignore. Security researchers have already demonstrated prompt injection attacks against agentic browsers. A web page can contain hidden text instructing the assistant to do something the visible page never mentions, and because the assistant reads the whole page, it can pick that instruction up as if you'd typed it. A human skimming the page would never see it. An assistant reading the raw content might act on it. That's not a hypothetical about Comet specifically. It's a known category of risk for every browser-based AI agent right now. And it's why I keep mine sandboxed away from anything that touches money or credentials. Cost comparison side by side. Google's AI mode, free, built into search you already use. Perplexity, free tier with real limits. Pro at $20 a month for the sourcing depth and Comet access. Max at $200 a month for heavy daily use. If you're not already paying for Perplexity, Google's AI mode covers the majority of what most people need for $0. So here's where I landed, and it's less dramatic than switch to this one. It's more useful than that too. Use Google's AI mode for anything fast. Quick facts, local information, shopping decisions, anything where you'd normally just search and move on. It's free, it's already in your browser, and it's connected to data Perplexity can't match. Use Perplexity when the output has to survive scrutiny. Research for content you're publishing, claims you're about to say out loud to an audience, anything where you need to see exactly where a fact came from before you repeat it. $20 a month, and worth it the moment you're producing anything regularly that other people will trust. And regardless of which tool gave you the answer, verify it. That Columbia Journalism review number, 37% error rate, should sit in the back of your mind every time either tool sounds confident. Confidence is not the same as correctness. That's true of both of these tools, and it's honestly true of most AI output right now. Here's what I got wrong before making this video. I'd been using Perplexity for local, quick lookup questions out of habit, the exact category where Google's AI mode beats it on data access alone. I was paying for depth I didn't need on those particular queries. Now I default to Google for anything fast and save Perplexity for research that has to hold up. Second mistake, and this one's more embarrassing. I'd been treating Perplexity's citation count as a proxy for accuracy. 20 sources felt more trustworthy than 5, so I got lazier about actually opening them. That's backwards. More citations means more individual claims that could each be wrong, not fewer. The Columbia Journalism review number doesn't drop just because there are more links attached to the answer. If anything, more sources means more surface area to check, not less reason to check it. Comet is the one to watch. Not because it's ready to hand your accounts to today, but because it's the clearest sign of where this is heading. Search tools that don't just answer, they act. I'll do a full breakdown once it's matured past beta feeling territory. Full tool list, one more time. Google AI mode for speed and local answers, free. Perplexity Pro for sourced research, $20 a month. Comet for reading and summarizing, included with Pro. Act on it carefully. Subscribe if this saved you from paying for the wrong tool. I cover one AI workflow or comparison per week. Real cost, real limits, no hype. One question for the comments. When an AI tool gives you a confident answer, do you actually click through and check the sources, or do you take it at face value? I want the honest answer, not the aspirational one. Next video, how I use AI to script an entire YouTube video in 20 minutes. The exact Claude prompt structure, start to finish. See you in the next one.